today is March 13th, 2025, and I am in New Jersey, Zone 6B. And today I am winter sowing my annual flowers. Every year I wait until March to sow annual flowers that don't need cold stratification. So first up is this lemon drop French marigold. Now, this is a new variety to me, but marigolds work really well with winter sowing. Now, this particular marigold is a very short dwarf marigold. It's only grows to about 6 to 12 inches high, so it is great for containers, but I will be using it in my veggie garden, and them being so short and very small works great to not take up too much room in my vegetable garden. The flowers are edible and they also help reduce soil nematodes. Now, next is this lemon and tangerine gems. Botanical Interest currently has this sold out, but it is one of my top favorites. I hope they do bring it back because I really love this one. Now, they do have another one, which is a 3-color variety, but I specifically like this yellow and orange variety. They have these petite little single flowers, and they bloom on these very dense mounds of lacy scented foliage. I love them in my regular garden with all my flowers, and cutting them to put them in a little mason jar arrangement. They are absolutely beautiful. They only grow to about a foot tall, so they are relatively short, but they are very bushy. And I absolutely love this and plan to grow this just about every single year. Next up is this Cosmic Orange Cosmo. It's an improved variety of a sulfur Cosmo, and I grew this last year for the first time. I did not winter sow it, but this time I am trying it out in winter sowing. They do get rather tall, but they were so beautiful and so many vibrant flowers, and I want to put this maybe out in my front garden and see if perhaps it is more deer resistant than a regular Cosmo, because those do not stand up to deer. But these have a much thicker stem and much thicker foliage, so hopefully they do stand up to both the deer and the rabbit. Next is this tall verbena, and I winter sowed this last year and it worked beautifully. I had it all over my garden, and it is rabbit and deer resistant. Now, they may have self-seeded all over my garden, but just in case they didn't self-seed, then I'm going to grow a few in winter sowing containers so that I can add a few into my garden. I don't need too many, so this should be enough. So next up is several different types of strawflower, and this one, it is a dwarf variety that stays relatively short, so it's going to be perfect for containers and adding to the landscape as well. Out in the front garden, we will see if it is deer and rabbit resistant. Now, for the dwarf ones, I'm not so sure that it can be used for cutting, so that's another thing that I want to find out. I am also winter sowing some tall varieties, and those do need to be staked, and they are a cut and come again flower. And I just love the unique feel of the straw flower because it feels crisp, dry, like something like crisp dry paper that makes this crunchy paper-like sound when you touch it. So it's a very unique flower. And if you add a drop of water when the flower is open, it'll close up, which is quite unique. They are heat and drought tolerant, and I've had a great success with growing them in the winter sowing method and then transplanting them out in the garden. They do wonderfully. So the two tall varieties I have is the silver rose. So I had some leftover seeds, and then now the king size red. And I only have a few of those, as well as some seeds I collected in the garden. But the ones from the garden may not actually be that burgundy red, but we shall see. And one last thing is Strawflower is great for drying. They will stay the same exact color as when you cut them. So great for projects. So next is this Gomphrena, and this is a tall variety, Lavender Lady. So this gets about 2 to 2.5 feet tall. They are heat and drought tolerant, and similar to the Strawflower, does have this somewhat of a papery feel. It is great for cutting and also great for dry flower, as they do retain their color really well. So great for using in projects. And I am not growing too many of the colors this year, just a Lavender Lady, and I only need a few. My second favorite is this Buddy Purple, which is a really dwarf variety. I grew it last year and fell in love. It only grows to about 10 inches tall, and it is this deep, bright purple color. It's very striking. So this shorter variety works really, really well to put into containers. And for me, last year, it lasted all season long, well into the fall, and really just added so much color to my garden. Since I loved it so much, I am actually sowing a half a container plus one whole extra container, because I really would like to put this in a lot of different containers and arrangements. So next up are nasturtiums, and this first one is Moonlight, which is a climbing nasturtium with some soft yellow flowers. The flowers are edible, and these can be grown up on an arbor, along a fence, or a trellis. And I do plan on growing these up my arbor alongside the clematis, and hopefully they'll last long enough. I don't know that they will last all season, because once it gets really hot, they don't seem to like it very much. But I'm going to give this a try because I really fell in love with that soft yellow color. Next up is this Tip Top Pink Blush, and I grew this last year. It is a compact variety, so it's about a foot tall and a foot wide. And again, they really do prefer some partial sun in the summertime, and the blooms are edible on this one as well. And I grew this one last year, and I really liked it more towards the fall time because the color just changed and it looked absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to try this one again this year. So next up is a forget-me-not called Bluebird. Now, last year I grew the Chinese forget-me-not, and this one is different. The seeds are very tiny and black, and this is a shorter variety, so it only grows about 12 inches tall. They do prefer to grow in partial sun to full shade and moist soil. And I'll show you the Chinese forget-me-not seeds, and these look very different. So the Chinese forget-me-not seeds have almost like a spiky kind of feel, and it sticks to your clothing. But these are very different, and they're very smooth and black, so very different varieties. And these bluebird varieties have a little yellow center, and these are said to be possibly biennial on the packaging. I'm not 100% sure if that's true, but we're going to give these a try this year. And next is chamomile, and I love growing this, and winter sowing works great for chamomile. I love collecting the flowers to make tea, and the last couple of years I grew a different variety, which was not a German chamomile, and it was good, but I really want to try this German one. I'm hoping it's not, or a little sweeter, because the one I grew before was just a tad bitter. And I do have some of the other variety that overwintered in my garden, but I'm unsure that it will flower well. So that's why I want to try this one to make sure that I absolutely have this variety in my garden. And I hope it self-seeds actually. So I'm just placing my containers inside of my raised bed, and I'm putting them alongside the containers where I have all of my native winter sowing that I did back in January. And then I have one more winter sowing that I need to do, and I'll be doing that in April, which will be the tomatoes and all of my herbs. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.